With the official release of the Gundam Assemble game getting closer and closer, Bandai has again released another set early for us. This time, it's a premium card collection Gundam Assemble set from the Iron-Blooded Orphan series, and we'll be painting the minis today. We'll also be taking a look at the cards because I think they look pretty cool, and since I also play the card game, I'm just interested in the cards in general since I will be using them in my deck. But yeah, let's just open the package, see what's in there, and get started. Alright, let's take a look what's inside this box. Now, I have already opened it because I just wanted to see which cards I get, because there is one mystery card in here. As you can see, there is one resource pack that includes 1 out of 5 exclusive resource cards. I just wanted to see which one I had and what the cards look like in real life, so I just already opened it, but I'm going to show you guys anyway. So I'm going to take this out of the package and then throw the box into the room. Now, I've already unpacked it out of the plastic because I wanted to show a friend of mine, but you get the idea. We'll start off with the cards. Now, the cards that are included in this set look amazing. This is the 1 out of the 5 resource cards that you get. It's a EX resource. They seem to be doing a lot of promos in the EX resource thing, and I find that unfortunate because in most cases you play one of these and not much more, unless you're playing like a win deck and you're just ramping up the resources. Yeah, I would have loved to see this just as a normal resource, but well, it still looks really cool. We've got the Barbatos in the background, and then I don't know her name, but this card looks really cool. The foil is amazing. And then we'll go to the tokens. Like I said, when you play a token, you are allowed by the rules to play a assemble figure that resembles the token on top of it as a gimmick. It's really inconvenient because it's just in a way. I've never seen anyone do it yet, but it's there. It's just a fun collaboration between the two games, but most of us are gonna play the assemble figures in the assemble game and nothing else really. You get 2 of these, then you get 2 of the Grace Customs. These are also the figures that we will be painting today, as they are the ones included in this set. We then have Olga Order's command card. If you want to read what it does, just pause the video. The CGS Mobile Worker Commander Type Unit card. The McGillis Swallowblood Grace, the LR from the Starter Deck 5, as well as the other LR from Starter Deck 5, the Gundam Barbatos 4 form. I call it Starter Deck. I think technically a structure deck, but I think it just sounds dumb. Now that that is out of the way, let's look at the runners. We'll start with the 3 bases. It's a bit unfortunate that getting closer to the release, they still give us these round bases. Because if you're like me, you might just want to decorate the base as well, but since the game, when it's released, will have hex bases, people might make an issue out of the fact that you're using round bases instead of the hex ones. But if you have decorated bases, good luck taking it apart. Regardless, I might still do that, and everyone else can just sawed off. Okay, the first runner, the E2 runner. It has a rifle, it has an axe, it has some of the legs of, I think these are the Grace suit that's included. I don't actually know. It's been a while. Oh yeah, here. The Grace Custom, you can see that here. It's been a while since I've watched Iron-Blooded Orphans, so I don't know much anymore about this series. But anyways, the big rock for the mobile workers, the mobile workers CGS. The detail on this is really good. The rifles and just the surface details are amazing looking as well. 4 runners this time. I'm pretty sure the other ones came with 3, but it really just depends on what's in there. Then we have Barbatos Lupus, or no wait, Barbatos 4 form. Excuse me. Looks really cool. The V-fin is really sharp. It's a bit thick, but otherwise it looks really good. Some nice pipe details in the arm as well here. This is going to be really fun to paint. And then we have the less mobile worker parts, the top side of the rock as well as some of the threads here. I'll be using some mud terrain effects to give that a good look. So that's that. Let's go assembling.
Alright, so let's take a look at the instructions here, and here you can also see that gimmick I was talking about. That's nice, but none really uses. Before we will be painting this, let's just cut everything out and put it together. After that nice ASMR session, we will move on to the assembly of these figures. Now, even though I do assemble everything for the priming stage and keep it assembled during the painting stage, I would suggest you consider painting these, especially this set, in sub-assemblies. Especially the Barbatos is pretty complex and has some small parts and crooks and nannies you can't really get into with a brush that easily. So if it's not heresy for you to paint these in sub-assemblies, because I don't know what the Warhammer people do, if it's forbidden to paint it in sub-assemblies, consider doing it, because some of these parts are hard to get by with type brush, and it makes it a lot easier to do it in a sub-assembly. Once everything is put together and primed in gray, I will put down the base colors of all of these with the colors you see on screen with an airbrush. Since most of these kits are 70 or 80% a singular color, it's just way easier and better looking to do with an airbrush. We start with this Creos custom by putting down all the white colors, because that's the only one of two colors other than the green that needs to go on this kit. So we start with that. And after that, we will move on with the gray parts. Now, I want to apologize in advance if these figures seem rushed. I decided last minute that I wasn't going to make it with my current project for the first of this month. So I decided to swap it around with a mini painting of March. So that's the video you're currently seeing. I painted these 3 figures and edited this video in one day, so it all might be a bit rushed. It might not be perfect, and I might have forgotten to paint some details. Now I can blame it also on the instruction manual that has a 144p resolution reference image. I don't know what Bandai did there, but the image quality is absolutely horrible and it's no use. So do look up a reference image if you don't know the color scheme out of your head. But like I said, I want to apologize if some of the figures don't seem as polished as they can or should be, and if this video has some minor mistakes. I still think the result is really good and it turned out nice, especially the bases as well and the weathering. So stick around and watch till the end. Now here you can see me making use of a sub-assembly painting, because there's no way that I will get my brush in here without touching the other parts and having to touch that up again. So I just took it apart and painted the inside of this frame that you just can't reach without taking it apart. So really do consider it, unless you're like a magician and really good at painting. This is gonna be a hard place to get your brush in without dirtying your other paint jobs. Once the Creos custom is done, we move on to the Barbatos, and like I said, and as you can see here, it has some really small details from the emblems on his leg to the yellow parts and the intricate details of the suit that need to be painted. I wish I would have taken this apart because it was driving me a bit crazy and I might have rushed it here and there, and it turned out okay. It could definitely have been better, but today also, like I said, it is in one day, and today unfortunately and didn't have the steadiest of hands, so it is what it is, and I think it looked great. But we start with the blue, and as you can see here, it is a bit light. You get that speed paint kind of result that I do not want, so I went over it again. And here I use my 000 brush to get into that detail on the shoulder parts. Now, it turned out okay, and I touched it up with some wine paint afterwards. If my hand would have been steadier, it might have been better. Or with a reverse enamel wash painting technique, this might have even been better. But regardless of that, it turned out okay. It turned out nice. I do touch it up later on, so don't worry too much about it. After painting all the yellow parts, we move on to the final and last color of this mobile suit, being the gray. Now, a lot of these pipes and things are also intricate and small, but I did manage to get most of them picked out correctly. Now, the keen eye might notice at the end that I did forget to paint some parts gray, especially on the backpack and maybe somewhere in the chest. But like I said, the reference image was absolutely garbage, and I don't know these mobile suits off the top of my head. So I did the best that I can, but be sure to get some proper reference, because these images Bandai put in the manual are unusable, unfortunately. I hope that is a early production error and will be fixed in the later versions, but compared to like a normal Gunpla manual, there's no good reference color chart of where paint needs to go. But most of you might just have this mobile suit on the shelf, so you can always just look at that. We then do some edge highlighting on the weapons, as it is heavily used and scratched up, but we will also eventually do some edge highlighting of that green on the mobile suit itself to give it a bit more of a weathered look. A light enamel grey wash is used on the white to give it a bit more contrast. And I did consider using the black on the suit itself, but it did not look that great. Now, since a lot of the IBO series takes place in some form of desert, I decided to do a dust deserty weathering style on these suits. So we start with a enamel dust wash on the ankles, but I eventually just decided to airbrush or dry brush, the entire thing with this enamel paint. It was an impulse, but it looks really good, so I'm happy with that. Next we use some dust pigment with a toothpick. Don't question my application methods, I have no clue what I'm doing. I don't have any pigment setter either, but yeah, just press it in there and it works. And then with that same enamel dust paint, we will dry brush the rock base for the tiny robots, I forgot the name. We'll dry brush this base, and we'll then follow that up with a brown enamel wash, also just your Tamiya panel liner, which we will then brush off a bit to make it less contrasty, but still give it that variation on the surface. I then moved on to painting the tracks of these things, but either my battery ran out or my record limit was hit, so I didn't record it. So let's just move on to these guns that I will be painting in my favorite paint ever, Donkere Grauw. One done, 5 to go, so let's just do that real quick. Since these vehicles rush through the rocky landscape, they will have a lot of surface wear and tear, so I dry brushed some silver over it to recreate all those scratches and damaged look on the vehicle. It might look a little bit out of scale, but I don't really care. We then move on with a brown enamel wash as well to make a bit more grimy and dirty look on the surface. I did not want to be touching this Barbatos any longer than I already had been, so I just gave it a grey enamel wash to give it a bit more contrast and life. And then again with a brush, press a lot of pigment powder into the maze, but also on the knees, and eventually just all over the suit to create that dusty, sandy, desert-worn look. If you have any tips for better and more proper pigment use cases, let me know, because I'm just doing whatever works and looks right, but I have no clue if there's any proper way of using them, so let me know down below if you have any tips for me. Now, for the bases, I'm really proud of this technique that I created in my mind. I used some Vallejo Terrain FX glue. It's just a transparent matte drying PVA glue, and on top of that I sprinkle that dust pigment. Then with a brush I press and compress these pigments into a more hard desert looking like surface, and once that acrylic paint has dried, this surface is rock steady, doesn't go anywhere, and it does look like a proper desert terrain. Once this has all been put back together and the bases are painted black, I can call this finished just like Mikazuki. And then I will show you guys some B-roll shots, and I'll see you guys next time in what should usually be a mini painting video on roughly the 15th of March. This time it will be the usual big project that you see on the 1st of the month. If I can make it in time, it might be delayed a bit. It's a big project, but I'm excited about it, and I'll see you guys then.